pull up, shrug, and hold it there. Now, go ahead and do a tricep press down. Oh, that's different, isn't it? It's not the same at all. It's very different. It is hard to hold your traps up because you're used to doing all your presses and following through so much. So this is not necessarily a full tricep exercise. This is specifically to try to hit part of the muscle that we never really hit. We're going to go over a modification, and it's very small and it's very subtle, but it makes a big difference. And there's not a lot of things like that in the weight room. If you want a big difference, you got to do big things to change it. This, not so. It's a tricep press down exercise, and that's pretty simple because it's just a hinge joint, you know, bend and straighten, bend and straighten. So take whatever normal tricep exercise you do, and we're going to get a grip that's about a tiny bit narrower, but nearly as wide as your shoulders. And we're going to take it down and we're going to take it up, just like you always do, with one exception. Now, before I tell you the exception, though, you got to know something about the muscle itself to make this make sense. So if you don't know this, it wouldn't make sense. You can still feel it, though. But here's why it works. So I'm going to draw the arm. You stand up, Shields, for a second. I'm going to draw the arm from the back. And I'm going to draw the scapula and, of course, the tricep. And so I might just draw it on you, actually. Can I draw it on you? Sure. All right. So I don't have to draw the bones then. I'll just use this as the muscle. I usually use red though. But so one head of the tricep starts on the humerus. So let's say this is the humerus. I am going to draw it. And here would be the scapula. And here would be the ulna, which is your forearm bone. So the muscles all tie in. Now this is a back view. So this is the back of your body. And all of them insert. They all hook on. All three of the triceps, they have to be below the elbow or they couldn't move this part of the arm. If they hooked on up here, how could they move this? So they hook on right here. And through this tendon, when these contract, they pull this around that olecranon process there. But that's where all the muscles go. Now this spreads out pretty good. And of course it's also on the tendon. So they're hooked all along this tendon. Flex your arm down. So they're hooked on all along this tendon, and it's about that big. So all this is not necessarily muscle, but it's tendon. But you can see the tricep muscle up here. Now, all of them come down to this, and they eventually hook down here. So let's draw the muscles themselves in red. I'll start with the lateral head. It starts, I need a redder one. That's not red enough. It starts here on the side of the humerus, and it comes down to right here on that tendon that I drew. But it only goes that far. So it goes from here down to this tendon basically, which then of course that goes all the way to there to make it move. But that muscle is that outside bump. Flex your arm down again. That's this muscle. So it starts here and it's on the bone itself. And it comes down and it hooks on here and it goes up here. And that muscle is the lateral head of the tricep. Now this hooks onto this tendon and it pulls, this tendon pulls all the way around here. So when this gets shorter, it pulls that tendon, which is now down here, flex. You see it curl up? Keep it flexed as I bend it a little bit, but don't fight me, just a little bit. Bend, 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 bend. Can you see it creeping down? Flex it a few times yourself. Bend and straighten, bend and straighten. See it creeping down? That's because this tendon can't get any shorter. So it has to go around, and that tendon's down there, and then flex. And then this muscle gets shorter, and there's, you see, lateral head of the tricep. Now, there's a tricep muscle that's underneath these two heads. You can't see it. It's the intermediate head or medial head, and it also hooks onto the humerus and goes down, and it's kind of underneath both the lateral head and the medial head, but you can't see it. You can just see this lateral head and this medial head. So it's underneath. We don't have to talk about it, but it hooks on from this bone to this tendon. All three of them go to this tendon and move this point. Now here's the one we're getting serious now. This is why this exercise matters. It's the long head, and it starts down here. You can see where hers hooks on to this tendon. And it comes all this way up here, this big muscle here, big muscle. But it does not attach to the humerus. It goes all the way up from this tendon to the scapula. I need another red. I'm running out of red. It goes all the way up. It doesn't attach to this bone. It attaches to this tendon and here, so we can say that it attaches here all the way up to a point up here. I'm not going to draw that, but, and that muscle is this long head. So short head, lateral head, medial head underneath, long head, and so there's that horseshoe shape. Flex your muscle again, and we'll see the horseshoe shape. See it? See that shoe? Medial head, long head, but the long head travels way up here to where I started drawing this. It goes all this way. This is all tricep muscle, and it goes under the delt, and it hooks on over top. It is a two-joint muscle. It hooks on from here through this tendon, becomes a muscle, and goes past the shoulder joint. It goes past the shoulder joint. These two, the lateral head, the head underneath does not travel up here. They stop on the humerus. So they're a one-joint muscle. They traverse the elbow, and that's it. But this muscle, this long head, flex all this way and up here underneath. Now, why is that important? Because what we're going to try to do is take a regular tricep press down and engage more of this part here. It's easy to get this. Everybody has this. I mean, you see it on everybody, but who has it up here? Not a lot of people. What we're going to do is we're going to do a flex that continues. Flex down. Now, do a trap shrug. Keep flexed. Look at what happened. Come turn sideways. Look at what happened to her muscle. Come down for a second. Flex down. And then pull up, trap up. And look what happened up here. I hope you can see that. We get a lot more up here. So that's the motion. We're going to lock our traps up and keep them there. Now you're going to want to push down. And if you want to feel the difference, do one where you press down, and that's going to be your normal tricep feel. It's up in the middle, but it's a lot down by the elbow. So you do this, and you push down almost like you're benching down. And that's good exercise. But this, traps up, press down, and don't let those traps go down. That brings the contraction, because now the long head has to shorten even more. It has to shorten even more. And so let's do a couple of these. Just take a normal grip, fairly wide though in this case. All right, and do a normal press down. How's the weight? It's okay for demo? All right, so normal press down looks like this. So press down, and when you get to the bottom, push towards the floor. And that's a good tricep exercise. Now, come on up, and before you start, give me a big shrug. Pull up, shrug, and hold it there. Now, go ahead and do a tricep press down. Oh, that's different, isn't it? It's not the same at all. It's very different. It is hard to hold your traps up because you're used to doing all your presses and following through so much. And this, we're keeping this short so that we get a big ball right up high on what muscle? So we're not worried so much in this case about the lateral head and the medial head. We're worried about this long head. Go ahead. Lift up, good. Keep them up and work up here. Now you think up here, wow, that looks great. That's cute, that's amazing. All right, now think up here for starting and get it under the, way up underneath. See what you can do. Up nice and high. Flex down, flex down, flex down. All right, finish with one regular one where you push away. Let your shoulders come down. Don't trap up, don't shrug. Just do one and push down. And we'll see if that looks any different. They're pumping up now, so it may not. So I'm starting to see cross hatches. That's nice. Rest. So this is not necessarily a full tricep exercise. This is specifically to try to hit part of the muscle that we never really hit. Now, there are other ways to access it. There are overhead tricep extensions and things like that, but they don't get this extra shortening that you can get on a press down. I don't know of any other way to get that extra shortening, because when you put your arm over your head and do overheads, you're actually stretching that and not shortening it. So that's just like pushing away again. And so the way that we access this part of the tricep, the long head, is to shrug up. We change the position of the shoulder blade. Why is that important? Because the long head doesn't hook on to the humerus. It hooks on to the shoulder blade. And so when I change the position of the shoulder blade, I completely change the exercise. Not completely, no, that's an overstatement. I make a big difference with a subtle change. It makes a big, big difference. And you can experiment with them and see what you get. Let that come to your neck, cock the wrists. Nope, the other way, you had it right. Yep. Now you see how that stopped? If you let your shoulders go, it can keep coming. Yeah. So you keep those shoulders in and keep the elbows up and the arms at 45 degrees. And it's gonna be somewhere over your chin or throat.